Welcome back to the Resilient Philosopher. Another amazing opportunity to bring up a subject that for months has been spoken of and I have not addressed. I was able to watch the halftime show yesterday and I watched it again today. Since Bad Bunny started singing, I never liked his music. I never listened to it. But the attacks on him singing in Spanish, the attack on his citizenship basically revealed and reminded me of lived experiences. You see, my family, my in laws, sister in laws, nephews, and everything are Puerto Ricans. And they are great, great people. They are very patriotic. They love their island. They love the United States. And I've met a lot of them that have served during the Vietnam War and subsequently in the armed forces in the United States. Since Puerto Rico became part of the United States as a territory, it has been utilized by the United States. The Puerto Rican people have suffered from being used by the United States. And to dismiss so blindly the fact that an American citizen from Puerto Rico wanted to sing in his native tongue, it takes us back to a time where United States did not want Native Americans to speak in their language. Now, before you think this is an attack into United States, I'll stop you now. This is not an attack in the United States. It's not a political episode by any means. There is plenty of countries, empires that have suppressed the native language of the areas they conquer. One of them is Canada. Canada tried to suppress the native tongue of the people. See, one of the tactics that a conqueror does in order to fully take control of a territory is setting rules that limits freedom of speech. You might think that speaking a foreign language to the conquered or conqueror, it's not freedom of speech. I mean, you're in America, speak English. You're in Canada, speak French or English. You are in any other country, you're expected to speak that language of the country. But there is a surprising effect that when you study and communicate in your native language, your ability to put emotions into your words and be able to freely open up your thoughts are important. That is why we have books like the Bible translated into so many different languages. Because it's known that once you read it in your native language, or as in said in Spanish, vaguely translated in your maternal language, it touches you in a more profound way. So when you apply that to the fact that Bad Bunny wanted to sing in his native tongue, why not? If you suppress that, you're suppressing freedom of speech. He's not negating being American or being part of America. He just wanted to sing in his native tongue. And after watching the show, I completely enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, ever since it was announced that he was going to be the artist for the halftime show, I started to listen to his music. And even though I do not like his earlier work, the album DTMF, I think is amazing. It touches me in a very particular aspect because the nostalgia of your native land and your native way of life can be profound. It could be, it is very attached to emotions and identity. You see, as much as we say or think that we need to act a certain way or be a certain way, the reality is that when we put ideologies ahead of humanity, we're no longer identifying ourselves, we're letting others identify us. Now, this doesn't mean that it's a right to do whatever you want or people have to listen to you. No. There are social rules, social mandates, maybe unwritten, maybe unspoken, but the bottom of it is you can do harm to others. Whether that harm goes with words or with actions, we have the grounded area that we are all humans. We are all emotional animals. And in that sense, identity becomes your awareness of how you view the world. You can be told many things, you can be described in many ways, but it's your choice which perception you want to have of life. How you want to identify yourself is with the people you agree or disagree with. You might think that it is okay to make remarks, or also known as microaggression comments, aggressive comments, I should say. And I'll be honest with you, working in construction, it created an environment that off color jokes, microaggression was a normal thing to do. And I became immune to the deeper meaning of the words being used. And now sometimes I catch myself thinking that certain phrases are okay when they're not. See, if your phrase, if your words are going to put other people down, are going to make other people feel inferior, and whether it makes you look superior or not doesn't really matter. You're still putting yourself above humanity, because we are all capable of saying things that other people would not like to listen to. And that in itself creates an inferiority complex where now you automatically assume that the world is against you. And that survival instinct kicks in and we become primitives. We need to allow ourselves to grow fully and become self aware of who we are deep inside. What do your values and morals and ethics are tied down to? If you think that it's okay for someone to discriminate, for someone to ex- uh, speak in hateful ways about others, you're complicit within that attitude. And now they'll see you as an ally, as someone that believes the same way as they do. And when others see it, they will assume the same aspect. Well, apparently this person likes to discriminate because he hangs out or she hangs out with people that discriminate. That is why it's important to have an identity of your own and not an identity that is shared by others. Be yourself, but be the self that realizes that we need everyone within our surroundings, that we all have a place in society, that we all have a place in our life. Start with the rooted ethics of humanity, where what is good for one might not be good for all. And that knowing your surroundings, knowing who you are with, makes a great deal of difference. To automatically assume you can say or do whatever you want because it's your own personal right, you might not be wrong. But just as it is your right, it is the right of others to call you out on it and make you feel uncomfortable with yourself because it's not good for the overall of society. And real leadership starts at home, starts in our private life. Real leadership doesn't start when you get that title or position or you want to run for office or you want to be a trial lawyer and all of a sudden you decide now I want to be a leader. It doesn't work that way. Becoming a leader and becoming a steward of leadership requires daily, daily paying attention daily to the details that make you grow in a personal level. Whether you make a mistake or someone around you, or whether you hear words from other people, take notes, take mental notes, learn. Push yourself daily to learn something new and to better yourself, to remove excuses, address the issues, the reasons, because you have to make your own identity. You have to project the identity that you want other people to reflect on. When people see you, you don't want them to label you because you don't label yourself. And you carry yourself with the respect that is dignant and respectful of all others around you. That is what makes a difference. And if you have to belittle others, if you have to put other people down in order to feel better, then you have to reflect in your actions and your words and think about the fact that if other people acted the same way as you, but in the opposite way to your point of view, then nothing will get done in this world. Nothing. Because we need each other. We need to communicate. We need to understand that there is a common ground, which is humanity. There is a common ground, which is the nation that you live inside of. There is a common ground when you look at the government system that you support in your country. And even more, you need to look at your association with religious beliefs that form hatred towards others. We have come so far in history, and yet now we're so behind from the future that we could have. Because instead of living in the moment, most of us live in the past. And as long as we live in the past and use the past to justify the present, it will not change in the future. We must learn from the patterns of the past so that we don't repeat it in the present moment, so it doesn't repeat again in the future. That is stewardship. That is being a steward leader. Those are the type of leaders that we need in our industries, in our lives, in our government, in our society. Those that realize that our past has brought us here. And what we do about it depends on the choices we make today. Going backwards, living in the past, would only bring the hatred that we saw against a show that just revealed what made America and what makes America great is the diversity of languages, is the diversity of personalities, is the diversity within the leadership roles that we take. When the world deserves to hear a voice, and that voice stands up against criticisms for everyone around them, that is leadership. Because that person believes in its message and its idea more than any other ideology around them. They have become leaders instead of followers. Because it is almost impossible for any human being to completely think alike. Because we all are unique and we all have a different perspective and perception of life. We all look at life from different angles. We all experience life differently. And when you put yourself a label and identify yourself through an ideology, you're missing the most valuable aspect and the most beautiful part that makes us human, which is self-identity and the ability to work together with others based on the ethics of being human. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Resilient Philosopher. As you know, you can find over 1,100 articles on our website. We also have, I have 3 books. They are available to be downloaded on Kindle or in the website at visionleon.com. That is vision, Leon.com. Thank you again for listening to another new episode. This is Dantes reminding you to always show up for yourself.